Okay. Adalyn Grace, but we call her Addie. I remember her being tiny and she had the cutest little nose in the world. Her fingers were super long and she had blondish, brownish hair. So,
Welcome to Still a Part of Us, a place where moms and dads share the story of their child who was stillborn or who died in infancy. I'm Winter.
And I'm Lee. We are grateful you joined us today. Please note that this is a story of loss and has triggers.
Thanks to our lost parents who are willing to be vulnerable and share their children with us.
If you're listening to this podcast, just know that on our YouTube channel there are pictures and videos that are related to the stories that are being shared.
Subscribe and share it with a friend that might need it and tell them to subscribe. Why? Because people need to know that even though our babies are no longer with us, they're still a part of us. Megan, thank you so much for joining me today, and we're so excited to hear about your sweet Addie. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you guys from, or where are you from, and what does your family look like right now? And then can you tell me a little bit about what your family looked like, when Addie was born?
Yeah. So I'm Megan and I'm from Reno, Nevada. I am 25 years old and I am a stay-at-home mom to our now rainbow baby, Kaylee Grace, in honor of her sister.
Uh-huh.
When we had Addie, I was 19 and it was very, it wasn't planned, nothing, not nothing at all. It was kind of okay, I'm pregnant and I am barely out of high school, but that's okay. But it was just me. I met my husband now when I was 22. So I went through my stillbirth alone.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
And
but
just as a little bit of context, how long ago was Addie born at the time of this recording?
it'll be 6 years in September.
Okay.
September 7th, 2016 at 9:18 in the morning. I actually met my husband now when I was 20 because I met him in 2017. So I met him exactly it was a year and a month after I had Addie.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
yeah. So I kind of took that year off, to I battled a lot. I battled to keep myself above water. I kind of lost all my friends when I got pregnant because, I was fresh out of high school and,
Mm-hmm.
all my friends just wanted to, do the college life and party and do what they wanted to do. And I took the other route and became a mom unexpectedly. And it turned out very, 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 very tragic.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't take it back for anything in this world. I'm so thankful that I did what I did because now I sit here 6 years later. I have an amazing husband and an amazing life with our now 2-year-old. And I see Addie and her every single day. And I'm just thankful. I wouldn't be who I am today without her. And I'm super thankful for that. So.
Oh, I'm excited to hear more about her and that experience. I imagine it's always very hard. This is always a very hard topic. And to find yourself, especially, you were pregnant at 19 and trying to navigate that. So that was unexpected and you were alone, right? And so
her dad was there, but it was not a very good relationship. I did everything alone. So
yeah,
he was there, but really wasn't there.
Gotcha.
So he didn't really, he did feel, of course that's his daughter no matter what, but things just fell through with us. And I'm grateful that he gave me my beautiful daughter. That's why he was put in my life and that's all it will ever be.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
It's good to know. And Megan, just so that everybody knows, gets to know you a little bit more. So you're a stay-at-home mom. Are there some things what do you like to do in your spare time, and what do you do as a family?
We like going out, hanging out at, arcades and stuff. We like walking, taking walks. My husband works a lot, so he's really not home. So me and Kaylee usually just go to the park. That's really much it. We don't really do anything else.
I was gonna say the life of a toddler is
yeah,
it's pretty basic. It's like we're eating, we're sleeping, we're playing, and that's good.
yeah, we don't. Yeah, pretty much naps. A lot of cleaning the house.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Sounds good.
It's basically daycare in my house.
Yeah. Okay, well let's get back to Addie and talk a little bit about that. So you like I said, like you mentioned before, that you found yourself pregnant, and the Addie's dad at the time was he was there, but he was not there. So you went to, I'm assuming, all of the doctor's appointments on your own and such.
Yeah. The only appointment he did go to was the one that they told us she was gone, unfortunately. So, I am super thankful for that one.
Yeah.
But, other than that, he didn't go to any of them.
Okay.
I think he went to one other one that was kind of just, one of those ones that they just do a little checkup at, nothing crazy, I don't think we even saw her.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Okay. And when you found out that you were pregnant, were you kind of worried, or were you excited? Were you?
I found out in January of 2016. I found out January 29th. I was in my bed and my mom was like, you're sleeping a lot. And I was like, yeah, I'm just tired, and I was out with friends. Like I was out all the time, hanging out, doing normal teenager stuff, college stuff. And I was like, I didn't see a problem with it, but, obviously I didn't know. And my mom's like, look, I left 2 pregnancy tests in your bathroom. Go and take them if you need to, just so we can get that out of the way, because if not, then this whole you sleeping is not good. And I was like, okay. And I kind of thought about it, and I was like, I never take naps. And at that time I was taking naps like, religiously, like crazy. I mean, I would fall asleep at like 5:00 in the afternoon and then be tired at like 8:00, like I ran a marathon. So I was like, okay, I'm fine. Like, why'd you put those in my bathroom, kind of thing, And so after that, I curled into bed and tried to go back to sleep. And I remember waking up and looking, and Teen Mom was on. And I was like looking at all their like symptoms and like what they were doing. I was like, fine, I'll just take the freaking test,
Mm-hmm.
So I went into the bathroom and I was like, okay, Mom, I'm taking the test. Like it's negative, and then she's like, okay, you really took it? I'm like, yeah. And I lied to her. And I was like, yeah, it's negative. So I didn't have to really take it, but I was like, okay, it's here. Why not? She's going to come home soon and I'm going to have to show her. And I took it and I walked out, went and got some food. And I came back in and I just see them blaring. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like freaking out. And I'm like, okay. And I remember I started pacing and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Like, but there was never a moment that I was like, I'm going to get an abortion. There was never a moment of that. I was like, okay, like I'm going to have to redecorate my room. I'm going to have to make room for a crib, make room for a basket. Like I was ready. Cause I mean, since I was little, I've played with babies. That's been my dream as a mom. I've always wanted to be a mom. Mm-hmm. That's my life goal. It's kind of weird to say, but that's my life goal. Like that's all that I've wanted it to be. And so when I saw that, I was like, honestly, it was a sense of relief. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to be a mom. Like, I hope it's a girl. That's all I said. I was like, I hope it's a girl. I want a girl so bad.
That's so, yeah.
And so I called my mom and I was like, okay, I lied to you. I'm pregnant. She goes, okay. And I was like, you're not mad? She's like, why am I going to be mad? She goes, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Like I'm going to call and you're going to get in and this is what we're going to do. Like, this is the next step. Here we go. You're going to be a mom. Like, I'm going to be a grandma again. Cause my sister had my nephew at 20.
Oh, okay.
So we were all young.
Yeah.
We were all young. So, and the biggest thing, I lost my dad in 2015.
Oh,
so it
okay.
was super hard.
Yeah.
And, I couldn't tell my dad. And, so that's where the first sense of grief started for me, but I didn't realize the difference of grief. But, so, a lot of emotion. I took probably like 13 tests and they all came out positive.
Yeah.
And, at the time they had those clear blues where it said like 3+ or 2+ weeks. Mine said 3+. Went that night to the hospital. Cause I was like, I need to get a blood test. I need to make sure like that I'm really pregnant because these can be fake and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So my mom took me and they're like, here's 6 weeks. Baby looks good. I was like, all right, like we're doing this. Like, okay. So, I went home and started looking at girl stuff.
You're like, it's going to be a girl for sure. I
Yeah,
know
my
it.
mom's like, you are 2 seconds pregnant, Megan. And I'm like, it's a girl. It's a girl. So, but yeah, so I was super excited and so ready. I was so ready.
Oh.
So,
And were you sick at all? It sounded like you were really tired in that
I was super
first.
tired. I only got sick one time from McDonald's.
Oh.
But other than that, no, I was perfect. Just tired, moody, normal.
Yeah.
My boobs hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
That
all
was
the
it.
normal stuff. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's not too bad then. And
No,
then
it was perfect.
and then when did you end up telling Addie's dad that
Yeah.
how did that go?
I called him because I actually was like, Mom, I need you to unblock him from my phone. I need to tell him I'm pregnant. And she's like, okay. And so I unblocked him and I was like, hey, I think you need to come over. Like, I have some stuff to tell you, and he was like, okay. And so, he came over that night after work and I went downstairs and I got into his car and I just laid out all the pregnancy tests on his dashboard. And I was like, he's like, you're lying. I was like, we can go upstairs and I'll do it in front of you. Like, I'm not lying. Why would I lie about this?
Mhm.
Like, and, so he was just like, I don't want to be a part of it. Like, I'm over this, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, well, this is what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to keep this baby. So either you are going to be a part of this, like fully, or you're going to go and like, that's going to be it. You're not going to know anything, about anything, and he, I left, I got out of his car, he sped off. And 2 weeks later, he messaged me and he's like, hey, like, I've had some time to think. I want to be, I want to be with you. I love you. I want to, do all of this. And I'm like, okay, I think that sounds good, and it just wasn't like that at all. Wasn't like that at all. So,
well, and it is what it is. It's in the past. And so moving on then, I mean, well, not moving on, but just tell me a little bit more about the pregnancy. Like when you were doing okay in the first trimester, did you go in?
The first trimester was awesome. Nothing bad. It was when I hit 23 weeks. When I hit viable. Yeah. Is when they found out that I have I guess my uterus I have a short cervix. So I was leaking fluid and I thought that it was, I thought that I peed myself. Yeah. But I still went to the hospital because I was like, I don't feel like this is right. I'd rather them tell me that I'm peeing versus something happening. Yeah. So, and at the time I just thought I'd have a miscarriage, So
even at 23 weeks, you were just like,
I'm like, oh, I'm fine. Like, okay. I'm probably just peed myself, but I just want to make sure, like, I'm not having a baby right now. I didn't even realize that, like, even after you give birth, that babies can pass away. I knew that you get pregnant, you go through pregnancy for 9 months and you have a baby and you deal with it. Yeah. Like, that's what I knew. I didn't know everything I know now.
Yeah.
So after that, I
Oh, wait, can I back up a little bit? So did you have the anatomy scan around 20 weeks then?
yeah, and everything looked fine. They told me she was perfect.
Okay.
Absolutely everything was perfect, and didn't notice anything. And I was like, okay.
So
And so
so at that time they didn't even notice that you're like she was
nope.
getting a little crowded or any I'm not crowded, but just like that
Yeah, no,
your
nothing.
cervix was
I
too
mean,
short.
nothing. They didn't tell me anything. They didn't. They just were like, she's perfect. Here's her little head. She's amazing. And I'm like, I actually have pictures from that day, honestly, that I can show. I like literally this one right here. Oh, no. That one's 32 weeks. But, she was perfect. Like I'd have to go through all of them, but yeah, there was nothing wrong with her at all. Like everything was perfect. There was nothing that they told me like, hey, we really should like look out for this. And it was this one, like one of these.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you
This
did
was,
get a 3D. Looks
yeah.
like.
So this one was 20 weeks and 4 days. And that was, yeah, I mean, you can kind of tell.
Yeah.
So her little foot and her little hand and then her face and all of that. So she was fine.
She looked really good.
So it rolled around to, 24, 20, or it was 23 weeks. And I went to the actual OB, and then they sent me over to the hospital because they're like, oh, you're starting labor. Like you're having contractions and you're losing fluid. I was like,
what were you thinking at that time? Because I would be like, I'm 23 weeks. What are you
I
talking about?
didn't know anything. I was like, oh, okay, she's going to go in the NICU. Like, just oblivious, and that's why I'm like, it scares me when like, younger girls, like younger than I was, have babies. Cause it's like, we are so oblivious to everything that could happen.
Yeah.
And that's why I want more people to understand, like, pregnancy is not all roses and rainbows. And I mean, it's scary. It is very scary.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very scary, beautiful thing. And, you're on your feet all the time. Like you got to make sure everything's good. But, I went, they sent me over, and they were going to do a cerclage, but that next day I would have been 24 weeks, and they don't do cerclages over 24 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, but I'm like 23 weeks. And I'm still 23 weeks today. Like, let's do it today. Like, I'm ready to, you can take me in right now. I'm not 24 weeks. I'm 23 and
6 days or whatever,
6 days.
right?
I'm good. Like, let's go. I have like, 13 hours. Let's go, and they were like, no, we haven't done it on like people like that. And I'm like, okay, so what would you like me to do then? Like, what am I supposed to do? And it was just strictly bed rest. Couldn't move. I mean, the only things I could do was go to the bathroom, take a shower, couldn't have baths because
Mm-hmm.
I was open basically. So showers, food, and that was it.
Yeah.
And
so were you in bed rest at home, or were you in bed rest at the hospital?
No, home.
Okay. They did send you home.
Yep. They sent me home. I think I stayed a day. I think I stayed 2 days, maybe. I don't remember how long I stayed. I think I stayed like 2 days. Just because they wanted to make sure I wasn't contracting anymore. So they gave me like medicine to stop contracting, which stopped it and all that. So,
did you feel any of the contractions? No. Okay.
Even with my second daughter, my water broke with her at 38 weeks, and I didn't even, I had her natural.
Oh,
like,
okay.
I didn't even feel anything.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I was like, well, no, I didn't even know I was in labor. They didn't tell me anything. Nothing on the ultrasound looked weird or anything like that. So
when you were in the hospital and they were just watching Addie, she looked good still, even though you were leaking fluid, even though that you kind of was starting to go into premature labor. She looked great. Heartbeat was good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
163, 165.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Was
absolutely perfect.
And were you starting to get worried? I know that you said that you've mentioned and you're like, I didn't know anything, but was there anything in the back of your mind that
Yeah, I was a little worried, but not like where I should have been.
Mhm.
I didn't think, I was just like, oh, okay, something's going on. I was a little worried, just because I didn't really know anything. I was more confused because I just didn't know
Yeah.
what was going on. And it was my body, and my body was doing weird things. But yeah, other than that, no, everything, I was just like, my life and my baby's life are in the doctor's hands.
Yeah. Uh
Famous last words.
I was going to say, did your mom give you any advice or anybody
Well,
else that was there to kind of help you or kind of process some of this?
yeah, my mom was there. She didn't, she was just like, this, I just hope that she stays in, basically. My
Oh,
sister and my mom were like, we just need her to stay in. That's it. And
okay.
which I wish, but after I lost Daddy, my grandma, actually, she told me that she had a stillbirth at 6 months.
Oh,
And I don't know if it's just the era that she grew up in. I don't know if it's just the way that she was. But I think that was like the last of her worries.
yeah.
And especially being, I'm her granddaughter,
Mm-hmm.
I think she didn't want to scare me,
Yeah.
which I wish that she would have told me,
Mm-hmm.
that, hey, this is a thing, and when Kaylee gets older, like, I'm going to like put it in her brain, like, this can happen,
Yeah.
and this is what happened to your sister. And when you grow up and you have babies, like, don't be afraid to talk to me about this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm probably going to be that like weird grandma that like never leaves my daughter's side. I'm like, no, you can wait in the waiting room, sir. I'm going to be here with her. But yeah, nothing. No, I wish she would have told me, but I didn't think anything of it. So, um, but then, yeah, so after that, they let me go home, and I just stayed in bed. And I think the first time I actually like went outside was to on the deck. I went on the deck and got some fresh air that way. Other than that, I was bedridden.
Yeah.
Watched a lot of Grey's Anatomy. Watched a lot of just shows.
Yeah.
Ate a lot of food. A lot of strawberries. A lot of Mexican food.
That's so funny that you remember those things as
Oh my gosh. It's so crazy. I was addicted to strawberries or like
Oh,
anything fruit. And then with her sister, it was watermelon with lime juice. I would eat that like nobody's
that
business.
sounds so good actually.
It is so good. Like, but and now she loves watermelon. Both girls, I craved like like sushi, like
Mm-hmm.
raw fish,
Yeah.
which I'm like not a big fan of.
That's
So
so
I'm like,
funny.
that's weird.
That's so funny.
But like I craved crab and butter, and like like now I'm like, I'm good.
That's so
Hated
interesting.
pizza. Hated
Oh,
pizza without. Yeah, and I still can't eat it to this day. I'm just not a fan.
you're like, no thanks. No thanks.
No.
Do you want
Even the
to
thought of it was like, I was on bed rest the entire pregnancy. Well, from 23 weeks and down
and out? Okay.
or up.
Yes, exactly. So then when you were um so you're trucking along, you're doing okay.
Mhm.
Is and no contractions still. That was good.
No, Braxton Hicks, I
Okay.
guess, but that was about it. I
Okay.
didn't know the difference.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
It is
So
what it is. Okay.
round ligament pain, a lot of that. I had a lot of that.
Yeah.
But I mean, my first baby, so I was like,
Just trying to
you know,
figure out like what to expect. It's hard
yeah,
when you have
yeah,
no idea.
no idea. And when like my mom, she had two beautiful, perfect pregnancies, so nothing really went wrong, nothing was wrong. So, my sister, she had the best the best pregnancy. Like I can't even explain it. Like she is the best pregnant woman ever.
So she's
ever. You can put that in there too, so she can hear it. Like she holds the babies perfect. She's an amazing mom. Like it's beautiful. Nothing was ever wrong. I mean, this woman could eat a pint of ice cream and not have preeclampsia. Yeah. And I'm sitting here like, little eating here. And I'm like, oh, I'm scared, So I'm like, I'm so jealous of you. So jealous.
Yeah. And I was going to say, you're probably like, wait, how come my pregnancy is not like that at all?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, I thought, and my sister and my mom, they were just like, cause they've never been through anything like this, they were like, what's going on? And I'm like, you tell me, I don't know. Like, I've never been pregnant. You've been pregnant twice.
Yeah.
You've been pregnant once. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
oh man. Okay. Well then tell me how everything progresses then. And, cause it sounds like you had an appointment, that was maybe scheduled with the doctor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I, it's been so long. I don't remember I don't remember a lot of it. I remember the first day off of bed rest. It was the weekend of not only my mom's second wedding that I was in, but it was my baby shower. So I had my mom's wedding and then my baby shower on that Sunday.
Okay.
So
a busy weekend. And so they did let you go off of bed rest. Is that what I heard?
For that. Yeah, for that. Okay. And they let me off of bed rest 2 times. The first one I took a trip with my sister, my nephew and my uncle. We all went to San Diego and I was off of bed rest for that one. They let me go. I just had to know where the nearest hospital was.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, okay. But I was young. Like I just didn't want to sit at home, and I was pregnant all throughout, summer. So I was like, I want to go. So we went to SeaWorld, I think it was. I didn't ride any of the rides, but I was kind of there because my uncle and my sister wanted to ride the rides. So I was there watching my nephew.
Gotcha.
So it was kind of a win-win.
Yeah.
But you know what? In a way, I'm kind of thankful because it was like I took a trip with her and I get to remember that. And I remember we got to see the little Shamu and she was, throwing water at us and I got water on my belly. And it was just like, now I'm thankful for that experience because in a way she got to experience that with us and that makes me happy. So I'm glad that I went. I asked the doctor if I could go. So she said, yeah, but, so that was the one trip that I went on. And then I got off of bed rest for the wedding and and my baby shower, but I sat most of the time at my baby shower. So I didn't really get up. Everyone was like, we'll come to you.
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So, so that weekend was, I'm sure, busy, but it sounds like it wasn't too strenuous. So that's good.
No, I was tired. I was exhausted. I fell asleep right after the baby shower. I mean, we got home, brought everything up, and I was a goner. I was so tired. I hurt. Everything was just not fun.
Yeah.
So.
And was she starting to get active? Does that make sense? Like, was she moving? Could you feel all of her movements?
Yeah. And that's all I could do, which this is actually something you should remember, but I was on bed rest my whole pregnancy. So all I could do was eat, sleep, go to the bathroom, shower, and do kick counts. So that's all I did. That was my life.
Yeah.
That was what I did. I knew when she was up. I knew when she was bothered. I knew when she was having the hiccups. I mean, I knew we had our whole little world. And what's it called? Our own little world. And so I knew everything. I knew that's kind of when I was when it started, later down the story, that's when I kind of was like, and she was breached. So her head was like, she was in there as like, crisscross.
Okay.
So yeah, she did not move, by the way.
Yeah.
So
you're kind of paying attention. You definitely knew her movements, definitely knew her patterns and everything. Had a really busy weekend, and then what happened?
Everything was perfect from there because that was in July.
Mm-hmm.
So August rolled around, and August. So my due date with her was September 21st, which is ironic because my due date with my rainbow baby was October 21st.
Oh,
so yeah, so it was just a month apart.
Yeah.
So August was horrible. August was the closer to the end of August was just, yeah, it was not fun. I remember bits and pieces. So everything that I know is what I'm going to say, but, it was towards the end. I remember, I was about 30 something weeks, 33 weeks.
Okay.
And it was between August 20th through the 26th, or the 20. So it was the 20th through the 28th or 9th, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I was having a bunch of just like, I don't know. It was just off. Something was off.
You just didn't feel quite right.
No. I felt like my stomach, I was, big, huge baby. This picture right here, like I was super big. That's my nephew, but I was super big.
Mm-hmm.
And I could just feel it felt like my stomach could sink in, and I was that big. And I was like, that's not, everyone's like, oh, she's probably towards your back. Like, you're super big now. And I'm like, yeah, I'm super big. She's not towards my back. Like, and if she was, I could feel her because she's huge, like, and so, I was in bed one night and, And, I remember it was super late. I couldn't sleep. And, I like moved up to the edge of the bed, like all the way up to the edge of the bed. And I was watching because I had to have a C-section. So my scheduled C-section for her was like September, I think it was like September something. I don't even remember it, to be honest. Oh, and before I knew she was gone, I went in for a stay because I was leaking more.
Okay.
And I was 32 weeks and I was leaking more. And so I went in and they kept me for a week. And during that stay, I was on monitors, like everything. I'll send you the picture. I was on monitors, and, they were like, okay, we're going to keep you for 3 days, put you on the steroid shots for her, because obviously this baby's coming.
Yeah.
So we're going to, put you on the steroids. If she doesn't come this day, then we're going to set you up for a C-section and we're going to have her. I wish they would have took her then. She would have been here. She would have been small. She would have been very preemie, but she would have been alive.
Yeah.
And, so I was on monitors, all this stuff, and it's the end of my stay, right? It's the end of the week, and, or the 3 days or whatever, how long I stayed there for. And they're getting me off. I'm getting ready to go home because my contractions were good. I was good. And her heart just drops.
While you were there at the hospital.
Yeah, while I was there, it dropped and then it went back up. So it was like a 5-second difference. And I looked at the nurse and I was like, because I was alone. I looked at the nurse and I was like, hey, like, I really don't want to go home. I'd rather just stay here. I'm already this far along. I'd rather just stay here and wait for her to come, or like, can we take her out? And this was the end of August. And so I still had a month basically left. I was like, look, I don't feel comfortable going home. Can you please talk to my doctor? She was like, oh my gosh, yes, like, this isn't good. Like, let me talk to your doctor. My doctor sent me home.
Hmm.
My doctor sent me home, and I believed her. I trusted her with all of everything in my body. I trusted her. If they would have took her that day, she would have been here today.
Mm-hmm.
She would have been almost 6, running around being crazy.
Yeah.
But I went home, and that's when I started looking up stillbirth, and I started looking up things that could happen. Baby's heart drops, and then it pulled up stillbirth. And I was like, what is stillbirth? And that's where I went down the rabbit hole of what stillbirth is.
Mm-hmm.
And then I clicked out of it because I was like, this is not going to happen to me. Like, I am not going to look at this. So a few weeks passed. I am now 35 weeks, 36 weeks. No, I was 37 weeks.
Okay.
37 weeks. And I was laying in bed one night, and that's when I pulled myself up to the front, and I was up all night, and I was like, you know what? I haven't felt her move, because I was watching a thing on YouTube about this lady that had a stillbirth, and she was like talking about her experience. And I was like, I haven't felt Addie move in a couple days, but so I got up, and it was like probably 2 or 3 in the morning, and I ran into my mom's room, and I'm like, hey, I haven't felt Addie move in like a couple weeks, or a couple days,
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous, Mom, can we go to the hospital? And she's like, Megan, you're 37 weeks pregnant. You're fine. She's just has no room, which that is the biggest lie anybody could ever tell you. And I'm not mad at my mom for saying that. She had no idea, just like I didn't. So, I totally get why she would say that, but babies don't ever run out of room. That is the biggest thing I cannot stress enough about that. They always have a room. Our bodies are made for this. And so, my mom's like, she's running out of room. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. I was like, so I called her dad, and I told him, and he said the same thing. And I was like, hey, I'm going to make an appointment for tomorrow through the MyChart thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go in tomorrow. So you can either go or you don't have to go. He's like, no, I'll take you. Cause it was a 9 o'clock appointment.
Mm-hmm.
And so he came over that night and stayed with me, and we woke up and went to the appointment in the morning. I tried everything that night to get her to move. I ate. I sat there with my big old belly in the kitchen light, or in the refrigerator light, just down in all these snacks that I could get her to move. Nothing at all. And I would feel a little twinge here and there. So I was like, oh, okay, she's okay. It was actually just her body already gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, it still gives me anxiety to talk about sometimes. But after that, we woke up the next morning. Thought we were going for a regular checkup. I get in. I was laying on the thing. They were measuring me. They're like, everything looks good. I said, hey, you didn't check her heartbeat.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, yeah. So she went to go get the Doppler. I was laying on the table, and I felt 3 big, huge earthquakes. And I'm at the top of this building. And I'm like, this is not a good sign. And I look over at him, and I'm like, I said, I don't think this is okay. He's like, stop it. You're fine. Like, stop thinking that. I'm like, no, I know my baby. This is not good. So this is not okay. And so she goes, and she obviously can't find her heartbeat. So they take me into that room where everybody goes, and all the doctors that I saw this whole stay, they all came in the room. They wouldn't let me see the ultrasound machine. And it was like a 2-second thing. And they closed it, and they looked at me, and they're like, she's gone. And I can't even begin to tell you, like, the noise that came from my stomach out of my throat. I was kicking, screaming. The women in the lobby were probably like, what are they doing to that poor woman back there? Like, it sounded like I was getting murdered, like I don't even know. I still can't even, I don't even know what
Yeah. It's like this unearthly wail. Like
feeling. Yeah.
I just remember wailing. It was like
Yeah.
not, it wasn't crying. It was just like,
No,
yeah,
it was like, it was from my stomach and just like
yeah,
everything, just like,
yeah,
like, like throw up,
yeah.
literally. And he started crying. Obviously, I was in denial. I remember, and then everything kind of goes blank. And I remember bits and pieces. I remember sitting there thinking, um, oh, they told me, I said, what are you like, what are you saying that she's gone? Like, let me see her. They're like, no, we can't show you, and all this other stuff. And I was like, okay. I said, well, like, what's going on? And they're like, well, from her brain waves, it looks like she's been gone for the last 5 days.
Oh,
Yeah. So she was in my body for 5 days. Just, I mean, I don't know what other word to say, but decomposing in my body.
yeah.
And I didn't feel sick. I didn't feel anything. I felt perfectly fine. Tired, but I mean, that's
To be
normal when
expected.
you're 37, 38
Mm-hmm.
weeks.
Yeah.
So, um, so I was like, okay, I want to go home. I was like, I just want to go home. I want to go home. They're like, Megan, no, you have to have this baby. And I was like, I'm not doing that today. And they're like, well, you need to, this is going to kill you. Like, this is not this, you could go into sepsis and die. And I'm like, okay, well, give me a minute. Let me gather my thoughts right now. I don't even believe this is real right now.
Yeah.
Like, let me just take a minute. And so they went out, started doing all this stuff. And then they come back in and I'm like, okay, I realized that I have to give birth to her. I'm going to come in tomorrow and do it on the 7th. And they're like, okay, but you can't do any later than the 7th. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So I chose to keep her in one more day. I wanted to keep her because the 7th, so October 7th is my birthday.
Oh,
So I wanted her to have a 7 too.
yeah.
And my birthday is October 7th, 1996, and hers is September 7th, 2016. So when I turn 26, she'll be 6. When I turn 27, she'll
Oh,
be 7.
yeah.
So I wanted something with her,
Yeah.
and I also wanted time to tell all my family, and I wanted time to start my grieving process. I didn't just want to, my mom was at work, my sister was at work, my uncle was out. I mean, everybody was working. So I wanted time to gather my thoughts and really think about what I was about to endure and what I was about to see.
Mm-hmm.
I looked up stillbirth babies, trying to see, they all looked beautiful. Addie looked nothing like them. But so anyway, I went home that night, called all my people, all my mom and everybody. My mom thought I was lying. Obviously, she was like, "Oh my God, you're lying." I'm like, "Why would I lie about my baby being gone?"
Yeah.
And I think she was just in shock as
Yeah.
much as I was.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she came home from work, obviously. My uncle actually had to go get my sister from work because she was so distraught that she couldn't even drive. We all met at my grandma's house. He went to go see his family. I went to go see mine. I remember going to my grandma's and I walked in with this big old belly and everybody was like, I felt like I was a failure. I felt like, I didn't want anybody to see me with my belly because I felt like I wasn't, like I was like I was faking it and I was like a fraud. And I just, I just felt gross. I felt disgusting. I felt just horrible.
Oh.
And so I remember them all like coming to me and like trying to hold my belly, and I'd like hit their hands out of the way. I'm like, don't touch me, like just stop. Like, I hate myself right now. Like, please stop, please stop. And so I don't remember leaving. I remember getting back with her dad and staying at his house that night. I just wanted to be close with him because, he's part of her. So I wanted to be close with him. And he slept good that night. I did not. I remember sitting there and poking my belly and just telling her to wake up. And I remember just like hitting my stomach, just like, nothing's going to hurt her now. So like, wake up, she's already gone. And obviously nothing happened. And I had to be at the hospital at 6 a.m. and I just watched that 70s show all night. Can never watch that again. Can never watch that show again because it's too traumatic for me.
Yep.
It just, I felt like my life just, and even now, 6 years later, like, I just feel like my life is like still at its standstill. Like, I feel like everybody's like going on with their lives. And even though I've made, my own family with my amazing husband and my daughter, like, I still feel like I'm stuck in 2016 and I'll never be able to get out of it. And so that next morning I got up and I was like, look, I just need to go and get a hat. I need to go get something for her. Let me get a hat and a blanket. And so we went to my house and I walked upstairs. We lived in a 3-story building. We lived in a 3-story building. I walked all the way up there and I could not go in my room because it was just filled with pink stuff and baby stuff. And I was like, look, you're going to go into the room and you're going to gather everything that you can possibly think of that I'm going to want. I've laid out, there's hats on the bed, pick a hat, pick a blanket, and I'm going to go take a bath. So I went in and my mom's like, Megan, it's 7 o'clock. You needed to be here at 6. And my mom's already there. And I'm like, I'm going to do this the way that I want to do this. This is my day. I'm going to do it the way that I want to do it. So I'm going to take my bath. I'm going to take my time and I'm going to do this my way. I'm going to make this day the best I can for what it is.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, you do you, girl. Like, I'm all for it, So I took my bath, cried. Obviously he got all of her things. I got, my stuff. I got my bag. And we were on our way to the hospital. I got there and they put me in a room. I remember walking in and seeing I had a designated room for me with the little flower with the rain or the little teardrop.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, like, this is it. We're going to do this. And, so I didn't sit on the bed. They told me to get on the bed. I sat in a chair next to her dad because I didn't feel like a mom. I didn't feel like I was worthy enough to sit on the bed where everybody else got to deliver babies. So I sat on a chair next to her dad. My mom was there. His mom was there. His brother was there. His grandpa was there. Everybody was there. They were all very loving and supporting. And I'm super thankful for that. Yeah. And even though things, fell through, they'll always have a place in my heart, even through everything. I'll always have a place for them.
Yeah.
But we were in the room and the lady, the phlebotomist came in and she goes, okay, let's have a baby.
Oh.
And I just start bawling. And they were like,
yeah, nope. Mm-mm.
Like, and then she like saw the thing on the outside and was like, oh. And I was like, just put the freaking thing in me and get out. Like,
yeah.
Because I chose to have a C-section because she was already breech.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go through all of that pain to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I chose to have a C-section. I went back by myself. I got rolled back by myself. I couldn't have anybody in there because I could have died and they didn't want anybody back there. So, which I'm so thankful that I got to be with her when she was born. got rolled back there, got my epidural or my spinal, whatever they did. It was me, my doctor, a couple other nurses. And I remember laying down and I was super nervous because this was my first surgery.
Yeah.
So it was a major surgery.
Yeah, it is.
First surgery ever. And all I knew is that I was going to be a mom in less than 15 minutes. And I got the anesthesia because I told her, I was like, I want to be drugged up, like drug me up. I wanted to be asleep. They talked me out of it because they're like, no, you're going to want to see her. And I'm like, okay, just drug me up as much as you can, you know? So they did. And I remember I was laying on the table and I was just, I was like, okay, I'm ready. Like, just talking. We were talking about San Francisco, and because San Francisco I love San Francisco. It's my place. I'm a big 49ers fan. So they were trying to be nice to me and talk to me about, things that made me happy and things that made me feel good about myself and all that. And I just remember they're like, okay, she's here. It was 9:18. And I look over and I just see her leg and I'm like, you need to bring her to me now. They're like, well, can we, make her good? I'm like, no, bring her to me now. Like immediately. I don't want anything off of her. Just bring her to me. And they were like, okay. So they brought her to me and I thought it was going to be scary, but it was the most like surreal thing. I was meeting my very first baby for the very first time. And it was just like me meeting Kaylee. I mean, it was nothing different besides Addie wasn't breathing and Kaylee was. I mean, I looked at her and I saw love. I saw my life. I saw me. I saw her dad. I saw what could have been a future, which sucks and hurts. She was just perfect. She was 6 pounds, 1 ounce, and 20 inches long. She had a beautiful color. She had some tearing, some slippage. Mm-hmm. That's what I call it. So I couldn't wrap her in anything. I couldn't put her in anything. I couldn't touch her body because it had her skin was falling apart. But I mean, the minute I saw her, I was just like, oh, she was just perfect in every way. So I was like, please don't weigh her until I get, into the room and stuff. So they sewed me up. Everything was good. They did see some green stuff in there.
Oh,
like I don't know what it was exactly, but it could have been a infection somewhere that they didn't check or they didn't find.
Uh-huh.
There was green. They said it was either an infection or poop. Yeah. So we don't know. But I still don't know to this day what it was.
That's interesting that they didn't investigate that a little bit more.
No, they did. I didn't let them sorry, I'm getting comfortable. I didn't let them do a autopsy on her because I felt like she already had enough trauma. She was already going to be cremated. Mm-hmm. And the thought of my baby getting cut open, just like, I mean, you can do it to a grown adult all you want, but when I think of my baby, I just, no, even though, she got burnt, but it's like, I don't know. That's one of my things. I wish I would have, because I feel like I would have gotten a lot more.
Yeah. Something more.
I wish I would have gotten a lot more, what happened, what could have happened, what did happen, whatever. The cord was fine. The placenta was fine. Everything was perfect. Absolutely perfect. So I don't know still to this day what happened. I kind of diagnosed myself or her with it. I think she died of something called premature rupture of the membranes. I was having a lot of preterm labor. And I think that for them not giving me the cerclage, I think I got an infection, a yeast infection, any type of infection, anything could have gone up there because I was already open. Mm-hmm. I think it just got to her and it killed her.
Mm.
And when they opened me, I had no amniotic fluid. So she basically suffocated.
Yeah.
In my body, which really, really, really just like, it's like, I'm your mom. I'm supposed to be the one that saves you. And I literally let you suffocate in my body. Like, it just hurt. I got her so they rolled me out and I actually asked them, I said, am I allowed to ring the bell to let everybody know that I had my baby? And they were like, of course. And so I got to ring the bell.
Oh, good.
So I rung the bell and I just, it was horrible because I got rolled out with her. I would not leave her. Like,
yeah.
I didn't want anybody to have her besides me. They got me into a room. I was on the very end of the hallway where I could not hear anybody. I did not go into the postpartum section. They kept me in labor and delivery, so I didn't have to hear the babies.
Yeah.
But so her dad came back into the room, and from there on, I remember seeing her a little bit. I kept her her hat over her face a lot. Didn't want to see her eyes. I was scared of her. I was so scared of her. All the pictures that I do have are either from her dad or my mom or my sister.
Mm.
I had her they had to literally pry her away from me. I did not, but she was decomposing every second, every hour that went by. And they were like, we have to, it started to get not good.
Yeah.
And so they had to take her away. So yeah, they did little prints for me. They gave me her dress. And that was the start of my grief. That was the beginning to my end, basically. It was the end to my new beginning.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm so sorry. It is so heartbreaking it always brings up memories for me too
Yeah.
of when we lost our baby, and it is like so horrible. Like it's so horrible and I'm
Yeah. And it's
so
like,
sorry.
I feel like sometimes when I talk about it, I think it's the PTSD, but I zone out, and like when I'm telling it, I go back into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can feel it. I can smell the smells. I can feel everything. I stayed there for 5 days. They had to physically kick me out because I didn't want to leave that room. But the minute I got out, the first place I went to was the funeral home.
Okay.
So I stayed there. During that stay, my sister stayed. My stepbrother was basically he was there so much that they thought he was the dad.
Oh,
Like
he was very supportive.
He was my sister, my best friend Christina. She stayed with me the entire time. She moved in with me after I had her.
Oh,
because I was so like, she just didn't want anything to happen.
Yeah.
She knew what I was going through. And so she moved in with me. We used to have little, like, my brother would stay the night. My sister would stay the night. She would stay, like, just to keep me comfortable. And because I felt so alone, and I can't even, I tell them every day, but I'm just so thankful. And especially when they hear this, like, I cannot thank them enough for being there and still being here to this day.
Yeah.
Because without them, I don't even think I'd be here today, just with everything. My best friend, she's a lot younger than me by like 2 years, I think, or 3. So she pretty much picked up her whole life and just like made sure I was okay. And she loves Addie just as much as me. She has her birthday actually tattooed on her.
Oh,
It's me. I have her tattooed on me. So I have her little, it says, "Isn't she lovely?" And then her birthday. My sister has, I'll send pictures, but she has a full piece for her. And then Christina has, her birthday in Roman numerals on her, over her heart. So
wow.
yeah. And
You
I love them.
Yeah, I was
My,
gonna say
yeah,
your support system sounds
my saving grace,
yes.
literally.
Like I am so grateful to hear that because sometimes we've heard some people are not as well supported and
Yeah.
it's a
Especially
tragedy.
because I was so young too,
Yeah.
a lot of younger moms don't even when their kids are born and happy and healthy, they don't have that support.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I had my people and they are still here 6 years later. And I actually live like my neighbor is Christina. So
Oh,
she's my, like,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, she's my best friend. And now she has a little girl now. And so our girls play together and like, I'll catch her sometimes. Like we'll be looking at them and we'll both just like shed a tear because we know.
Yeah.
And it's just, I can always call her and talk to her about her. I mean, that's my best friend. That's all I can say.
That's
But
that's amazing. That's
yeah,
a nice
yeah.
nice tribute to her that she was there for
Her
you.
and my sister, they tag teamed me. They were her and them, those three, my brother. Oh my gosh. My brother actually, right after I had Addie, he pulled up a chair next to me and I held his hand for 2 hours. He held my hand for 2 hours, no water, no food, like sat with me and just let me hold his hand while I slept. And he just like watched me sleep because I would go through these little episodes in the hospital where
Yeah.
I would put my hands like this, like I was holding her,
Yeah.
and I would rock and cry. And they were like, should we wake her up? Like Christina would be in my bed, my brother would be, on the side of me, my sister was at my foot, and they would just like, they're like, is she okay? Like, what's going on with her? And it was so weird. It felt like I was in a coma. Like I could hear everything going on around me, but I was dead to the world,
Yeah.
asleep. I just,
Your body
yeah.
was like trying to work out just the trauma that you just been
Yeah.
through.
And that's
Like
what the nurse said.
I think your body was
Yeah.
just trying to figure it out and it just needed to not think or engage or anything. So,
Mm-mm. Nope. And I can't think, my support system instilled to this day are just
hmm,
my life, my everything.
yeah.
So, but yeah.
Hey, Megan, I have a question. How did you come upon the name Adalyn Grace? Like, tell me where you came up with her name because it's
um,
beautiful.
Thank you. So I was in the car with my grandpa. We were driving to Target because I was going to look at baby stuff. And we were in the car and I was going through a bunch of names. I was like, what about, like, I was thinking like Izzy and like, what else I had Riley, I had, Abigail, Abby, like all these just like not names for my girl, like, just all out Eliza, like all these crazy names. And my grandpa's like, I was like, okay, I really, really, really like the name Addie, but I need something for her to like, it needs to be a strong name. Like if she's going to be the president one day, it needs to be strong,
Yeah,
it
completely.
can't just be this like Addie, So, I was like, my grandpa was like, well, what about Adalyn? And I was like, that's it. That's her name. And so I texted her dad and I was like, look, I don't care if you like this name or not, but our daughter's name's Adalyn Grace. Well, Grace. So when I was younger, I always wanted to do my girls because I always knew I was going to have girls. It was going to be like their middle names were going to be Faith and Grace.
Oh,
So if I, just because, I'm me, I thought it was cute. But I was going to do, so my grandpa was like, which is so funny. My grandpa basically named her because I was like, okay, well, what should her middle name now be? Adalyn what? Adalyn Ann, because Ann is a family name.
Yeah.
So Caitlin Ann, my grandma's name was Susanna. My great grandma was Anna. My mom is Karen, Susanna, and then her last name. So I was like, Adalyn Ann does not just, I mean, it's cute, but it just is not my girl.
Yeah.
Like, it does not ring a bell. And my grandpa's like, well, I really like the song Amazing Grace. And I was like, Adalyn Grace. I'm like, there it is. And it was all done in the Target parking lot.
That is so great. I think that, and that's just a nice little legacy. It was great grandpa, right?
No, for her great grandpa, my grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just perfect. Just, so I was like, oh, there it is. And, of course, when you're a new mom, you're like going through all these names. So I knew what her name was, but obviously I was still like, oh, what about Aubrey? And my mom's like, no. I was like, okay, well, and then for a minute, her name was Ashlyn. Like literally, like I called her that for a good 2 weeks. And I was like, no,
that's not it.
Adalyn Grace it is.
Good.
And that was it. That was her. That was it.
It's a beautiful.
And when she came out, I was like,
yes,
that's my Addie girl.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect.
So that's how her name got all done.
So Megan, and then you were in the hospital. You guys got discharged. You got discharged after 5 days. You did have a C-section, so that is a pretty typical time for being in the hospital to heal up. And because first of all, C-sections are major surgery, and then also, there was a risk of having sepsis actually because of the fact that Addie had passed away kind of a long time ago, right?
Yeah. So the day that I had the C-section, it was basically 6 days that she was in my body.
Yeah. So they were just watching to make sure there was no infection in you and that you were healing up. You were heading in the right direction and you were.
But, and she told me, my doctor was like, you could die from this. And I'm like, I just want my girl to come out in one piece.
Yeah.
I just want her to be safe. And they're like, okay, but she's gone. And I was just like, I just need to make sure that my girl is okay. And that's all, which is good because my doctor actually had to get up on the table and take her foot out of my hip because it was lodged in my hip.
Oh.
Usually when babies have their foot lodged in there, usually they can move it once starting to deliver because they're moving and they're like, trying to get out. Addie was gone, so she couldn't move her own foot.
Yeah.
So my doctor literally had to yank her foot out. And if I would have had her naturally, I would have had to go into a emergency surgery anyway.
Yeah.
Because her foot would have either A, broke off in my body, or B, it would have been stuck.
Yeah.
So I thank God every day I chose what I did.
Yeah.
So, but I had to sign a little waiver that I knew I was basically signing my life away. But I don't know. I feel like it was an act of love. Like that's still how I feel to Kaylee now. Like I would jump in front of a bullet for her, and so I risked my life for my deceased daughter. And, that's how much I loved her and how much I do love her and how much I just wanted her here safe, regardless if she was here or not.
Yeah.
And she came out perfect.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
So then you mentioned that you headed straight to the funeral home to kind of make funeral arrangements, something that you never thought you would do at the the ripe old age of 19. Were you thinking, I know that when I was in the hospital, they had a social worker come and start talking to us about what we wanted to do. And did that basically happen to you as well?
Yeah, they did do that for us. Her dad, so I wanted her to be baptized in honor of my grandma because they're very Catholic Christian people. He didn't want that, so I couldn't do that, which I'm very upset about. I wanted to do a whole gathering for her. He didn't want that.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't do that. Which makes me mad to this day. I should have, he is irrelevant at this time. So it's like, I wish I would have done what, for my girl, because it didn't matter what he wanted.
Yeah.
In a sense, it was what she deserved.
Yeah.
And what she still deserves to this day. So, we celebrate her every year. I do a big party. I get a big cake. I have all my friends and family come. So we basically do a little memorial every single
year. That's perfect. So
I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
Instead of one day, we're going to do it every year.
Yeah, it is. It is so nice to do that and just commemorate and remember. So you did end up deciding on cremating her, and you
Yes.
did not have any sort of gathering, did you? Or did you have any sort of service?
No, nope. I went there. I went by myself. Well, I went by myself basically. I mean, I went with my grandma. And I just got her ashes. I asked if I could see her, and then they were going to let me see her at the funeral home. But then I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to see her right now. Like, cause I kept another thing when I was in the hospital, with her after I gave birth to her, I kept asking for blankets. Cause I was like, she's so cold. Like, because my brain, that was another thing. My brain, I thought she was alive.
Yeah.
I thought she was alive, but it was so weird. It was like half of me thought she was alive, and then but then I knew she wasn't. It's so weird to like, if you haven't been through it, you don't understand it, but it's like, I kept asking, and the nurses were just amazing, and they kept giving me warm blankets and, making it feel like she was there.
Yeah.
I never got to see her body, like in only in a
full.
picture.
Yeah.
So, but back to the funeral home, I went there. I went and, what's it called? I talked to the guy there, and, I said that we weren't going to do a service. Here in Nevada, they actually, for babies, they have like a group where these people pay for babies, ashes and cremations and stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to pay for anything, which I'm so thankful. I don't know who these people are, but I'm just so grateful.
So grateful. They're so yes. We were recipients of something similar. So
yeah, it was amazing.
So grateful.
Absolutely amazing. So I just got her ashes. I got the blanket that she was curled up in. I don't have that blanket anymore because or I have it somewhere. I just don't ever take it out. It gives me too much anxiety to even touch, look at, because it smelled. I don't like it. It sucks to say that, but I just did not. It's not no.
I get you. We have our son's stuff too, and my husband, he cannot touch it or it brings up so many strong emotions, and it is hard to relive that again. Like,
it is. It's horrible. It was just absolutely. I just no.
So you
love it.
Yeah.
No.
So you decided not to see her again just because you were concerned about how you would be if you saw her again.
I do regret it. I wish I would have looked at her because I was more like sane in the head. But I'm thankful that I didn't. So because I don't know. They were kind of telling me like she's gray. She has no color to her. She has, blood out of her nose, like all these things, and I'm like,
I don't want to. Yeah.
Nope. Don't want to see that because I saw her in her perfect little form and I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Because you know what, if I would have saw her, that image would have overruled all of these pictures.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to see my baby in pain. I mean, Kaylee falls and she gets up and she's like, I'm good. And I'm over there sobbing because I just I don't want to see my baby in pain, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got all of her things. And then, I grabbed her. I actually had her in a really cute urn, but the urn broke. So I had to stick her back into like what she was originally in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And she was actually cremated on the 9th or September 29th, 2016. So, but she yeah, I had her in this really cute thing, but we're going to order a new urn. So, yeah, she's just in there. I have her shadow box, which is kind of a mess. My daughter, it fell on the ground, but I made her little shadow box.
Sweet. That's so
with
cute.
her little thing. Yeah. This little thing's cute. It has, I'll get a better picture of it, but, yeah, it has her name on it and all that fun stuff. I have so much. Like I have her little hat. That was
the one that you brought.
Yes, and her sister, actually, I'll send a picture and so you can put it in. This is the hat that her sister wore too when she was born.
Oh.
So yeah, I made it so I could, I don't know. And then this one broke, but it was her little feet.
Oh, yeah, that's so sweet.
Yeah, it broke, which made me really sad, but it's okay. And then her dress.
Oh, look how pretty that is.
Yeah, and it still has like a little the blood and stuff. And yeah, this was too big for her.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's so pretty.
Yeah, it is.
I don't ever I kind of want to get it in a
little shadow box too, probably.
Yeah, I want to get a bigger shadow box so I can put everything into it. But yeah, that's all that I have right now. I'll have to get into another box, but I also have this little picture. It's her little feet.
Oh,
it's like,
yeah, there they are peeking out.
Yes. She's a little baby. Her skin was slipping. She had skin slippage.
Mm-hmm.
So everything on her, when, you'll probably be able to show it, but her hands looked like Cinderella because they looked like she had little gloves on because her skin was slipping.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it sucks to say, but it was so pretty to see it that way in like a weird way.
Yeah.
Just looked very just like delicate and like.
And dainty and
Yeah, dainty and just, everyone told me that she looked like a porcelain doll.
Oh.
Yeah, she's perfect.
Oh.
In every way. So, but yeah, so I did that. I went back and got her and all of her things and all of that. And then it was the start of my grief.
Yeah.
Start of my healing.
And it's a long road. It's always going to kind of be there regardless of the time and the distance from when it happened and everything. But it's still with you.
Mm-hmm. I always say that it's like, if I could say what stillbirth is or like what it, what it feels like, it's like running a race or like a marathon and you're in first place the entire time. And then you just like fall at the very end and you break like both your hands or like both your arms, both your legs, and then you can never walk or do anything again.
Yeah.
Like that's literally how I've been saying it for years now. Like that's all that I can explain. Like that's the only way I can put it into perspective. Like it is the most tragic thing I have ever experienced in my life. And so I lost my dad in 2015, got pregnant with Adalyn, lost her 8 months after that, or wait, let's see, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. 7 months after that, I lost my grandma to cancer.
Oh.
My Mima, which I'm so thankful that I have this picture of them.
That is so sweet.
Yeah, so I'm super thankful of that. That is like my prized possession. So when my grandma died, I felt like I was alone because at that one second, I felt like I had somebody to talk to about it because she went through the same thing. She lost her little boy. And now here I am, I get to share her story, and be a voice for, my uncle, and she lost her little boy. 6 months, she was 6 months along. And she never even got to see him.
Yeah.
My grandpa didn't. So, I felt like she kind of was hurting through me. Again, she actually got to feel that pain through me. And I feel like, we got to talk about it a lot. And I felt like, oh my gosh, this is going to be great. Like, I feel like I have somebody to talk to about this. And then she became sick and she had uterine cancer, which spread to her lungs and her brain. And I just felt like my life just was, still, like, to this day, like, I wish that she was here to talk about it with, because she understood, she knew the pain that I'm still going through. So I was with her every second of the day until she passed away. And then about April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So like almost a year later, that following year in August, my grandpa died of cancer.
Oh man.
And so I have just been getting hit every year for like 4 years. And these are people, obviously my dad, and then my grandma and grandpa, they're my mima and papa. But they were like my mom and dad. Like, I was with them all the time. We were so close. I mean, we lived down the street from them. Like, I saw them every day. They were like they were my mom and dad too, like they were there every second of every day in my life. And so not only am I trying to navigate through a parent loss, trying to navigate through a child loss, now I'm trying to navigate through losing my best friends, basically, and it's just been just up and down of emotions. I mean, 1 minute I'm sad about Addie, then I'm sad about my dad, then I'm sad about them, then I'm, so I couldn't take it anymore. It was just too much. It's been too much. Like, I don't think and then I met my husband now, Jason, in 2017. So a year after I had Addie, and he just took her in with everything. Like, when he goes to work, like even before, like it was always, I have a daughter, but she's gone. Or now it's, I have two, but we lost her, and like, we have pictures. I'll have to send them in so you can put them in. But, we just had family photos of just him and the girls, and like, yeah,
sweet.
And his family, they took her in too. I mean, his mom is a counselor, a therapist. She has her own business in Washington. And, it's so nice to have them understand, not understand, but just be so supportive in what I'm going through. I mean, he got me in my, in my grief,
very, in a very vulnerable place, and sees how hard it has been, I'm sure.
And he lost his dad at a super young age. So he understands.
I was about to say, it sounds like he understands. He's acquainted with that sadness and knows what you've gone through.
So we vibe off of the sadness, unfortunately.
Oh man.
But so he still wanted to marry me, even though I was crazy. So, but he's been awesome. It's been hard, challenging for him, because he doesn't, in a way, he really doesn't understand, losing a baby, and, with Kaylee, she was a twin, and we lost her twin. It was a miscarriage. It wasn't anything, crazy, but, I didn't take it so hard because I've lost a baby, so I didn't take it so hard. But now he's like, I can't even imagine you losing Addie now, so it's like, it was, it's been hard, and, you know, everything, but he's a good listener. He like, I can't even, I don't, you know, it was just God sent him to me and
Yeah.
knew that I needed him. And he's just, yeah, I couldn't ask for a better guy.
That's awesome. Jason sounds awesome. Like, and
Yes.
he really sounds like he has helped and,
Yeah.
yeah, taken Addie in. I love that. I just think that is so beautiful.
Yeah. You would, you know, and I was young, so we were only 20 when like it all started. So
Yeah.
it's like him being like, okay, I met this girl, didn't know she was a mom, didn't know she lost her daughter,
Yeah.
didn't know she lost her dad and her grandma, then didn't realize that next year he was going to watch me go through the death of my grandpa.
Yeah.
So it's just like, he has literally been through all these major key points in a matter of 5 years
Yeah.
that we've been together. So if that puts it into perspective, Addie will be 6 years old this year, and we've been together for 5 years.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. He's been very much into it.
yes. So,
Well, Megan, I am so sorry about your loss. It's you when I met you and saw how much you radiate so much like hope, even though it's so tragic. This has been so tragic, but I'm grateful that you reached out to us so that you could share your story of
yeah.
Addie. Is there anything last that you wanted to say about Addie and what she's meant to you?
I just hope that she's happy with everything I'm doing is not only for her, but is for Kaylee, and it is for other women. And I hope that I have made her proud of being her voice and being her mom. And I'm thankful. I'm so thankful. Just wish that I could hold her again.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Thank you,
she
Megan.
was, of course.
That was perfect. Thank you so much for sharing Addie with us.
Yes. And I have so many more things that I need to get out.
I know, of course.